The pigeon could not enter the house, even though nothing was holding it back. There were no visible barriers anywhere near it, yet it seemed like something unseen was stopping it. Habona grabbed her 6-month-old toddler and sprinted to her grandparents' room. Pigeons and doves are usually considered harmless creatures, if anything, even gentle and protective. So, why did Habonaya run? To understand this, we need to dig deeper into Swahili and East African beliefs about witches, known in Swahili as wachawi. Welcome to my channel, fellow whisperers. Here we bring you true feeling of tales of shadows, spirits, and things better left unseen. If you listen closely to the silence, you might catch the right whisper. And if you do, you will know you are at the right place. I dare you to like, subscribe, and step just a little closer to hear a whisper, or maybe become one. This is the story of Habonaya and the pigeon. In Swahili and broad East African folklore, certain animals like cats, crocodiles, owls, hyenas, dogs, and snakes have long been associated with witchcraft. These creatures were believed to serve as familiars or even as forms assumed by the Wachawi, used to move unseen and carry out harm. In contrast, pigeons and roosters were regarded as harmless, even beneficial. They were used in protective rituals, divination, and sacrificial offerings. Their presence within a homestead was often welcomed, seen as a sign of good peace or fortune. While people remained cautious around animals linked to witchcraft, they lowered their guard around these gentle birds. Over time, the Wachawi began to adapt. As suspicion grew around the usual animals, the Wachawi's methods became less effective. The community had learned to watch, to guard, to recognize danger in familiar forms, so the Wachawi turned to what was trusted. They began binding curses and at times malevolent chains to pigeons and doves. These birds would be sent to a chosen home. Upon arrival, they would linger, perching on rooftops, doorways, or windows, waiting. If allowed entry, even unknowingly, the threshold will be crossed. The jinn will settle within the house or the curse will quietly take hold. The harm was rarely immediate. Instead, it unfolded slowly and deliberately. Businesses will fail without reason. Harvests will wither. Children will become unruly. Minds will falter. And in some cases, death will follow. The destruction felt natural, almost explainable, until it wasn't. But eventually, the pattern revealed itself. The community began to notice that not all pigeons behaved as they should. Some lingered too long, some returned repeatedly, some watched, and so they adapted once more. Protective measures were strengthened. People wore ornaments believed to guard against unseen forces, and talismans were hung within homes, above doors, in corners, near places of rest. These objects were thought to interfere with the binding of curses, making it difficult for harm to take root. In some beliefs, people did more than protect. It was said that a properly fortified home could reject the intrusion entirely, forcing the curse or the jinn back to the vessel that carried it. The pigeon will depart, returning to its sender, carrying with it the very harm it had been meant to deliver. What became of the sender, then, was left to quiet speculation. With the strengthening of religious belief, particularly Islam along the East African coast, many of these practices began to fade. Faith offered a different form of protection, one rooted not in objects, but in prayer and trust in God. Yet such beliefs are rarely erased. Even now, some still wear protective ornaments, some still hang talismans in their homes, and when a pigeon lingers just a little too long at a window or a doorway, not everyone is quick to welcome it. Little Monajuma, Habonaya's infant, had developed mild flu-like symptoms following her routine vaccination at the children's clinic. It was an expected reaction, Therefore, there was no cause of concern at first. However, by midday, Mwanajuma's condition began to change. She grew unusually distressed and cried intensely when a neighbor attempted to carry her. Habonaya did everything she could to soothe her baby, but all her attempts were in vain. Overwhelmed and concerned, Habonaya decided to take her daughter to her grandparents' home. When she arrived, her grandmother took Mwanajuma into her arms. She tended to the child, calming her to sleep. Relieved to see her baby resting, Habonaya prepared to leave. As she reached the doorway, her grandfather appeared. He urged her to spend the night there since it was late and she was exhausted. Habonaya did not protest. It was around 2 a.m., dark in the night. Habonaya turned to pull her baby so that she could breastfeed her. That is when she had it. Faint at first, her breath caught. Flap, flap, flap. Her chest tightened. She trembled as she reached for the flashlight beside her, pointed towards the door. Nothing. Around the room. Nothing. Then she shoved the torch up above her, slowly. That is when she saw it, perched between the walls and the roof. A pigeon, wings flapping frantically and wildly, but its body not moving at all. Habonaya snatched Mwanajuma off the bed to her grandparents' room, shouting, "It's a pigeon! It's a pigeon!" Babu walked boldly to the room as Habonaya and Bibi followed closely behind. It was clear this was not going to be an easy battle. The darkness made it difficult for Habonaya to see clearly, but Babu's struggles could be seen on his silhouettes. It was a very tough battle against the unseen. Tough battle. Tough indeed. In the morning, Babu went out to inform his brothers of the attempted sabotage. The room was in disarray. And Mwanajuma? She was perfectly fine. No fever, like she did not even get sick the previous night. That is when Habonaya heard. The child of the neighbor was no more. The very neighbor whose touch made Mwanajuma scream. So, tell me, whisperers, what exactly do you think happened to the pigeon? Share your thoughts in the comment section and we shall meet in the next session. Goodbye, whisperers.